My name is Count Shanks, and I'm the communications intern at the Global Water Security Center. I'm here today with our director, Mike Gremillion, and he's going to answer some questions that UA students have asked about water security and Global Water Security Center's role on campus. First question today is, how does water insecurity in other parts of the world affect us here in the United States?
One that immediately comes to my mind is that no country in the world is 100% sufficient in their food. So they rely on countries like Mexico and Canada and others for their food supply. And that includes the United States. And so when there's a drought or there's a flood that destroys a crop, there's some dependencies on water security in these other countries that affect our agricultural supplies. The amount of food in our grocery stores, the prices of the food. And so that is one way that food or water insecurity in other parts of the world can affect us. Another is the manufacturing. We've seen where semiconductors are made in Taiwan or hard drives in Singapore, where we've seen massive floods destroy the ability to produce these things. The other thing is like migration. We see changes of where people have given up hope, and this water insecurity forces them, along with crime and some of these other issues, to migrate and to move to other places to look for a better quality of life. And it's not just overseas. One of the things is even the Black Belt just to the south of us. We have a lot of these same issues. We don't have to go outside of our borders. We have something that's so close to campus that affects very similarly. And it's said that 70% of the Wilcox County have straight pipes, which means that they dump their wastewater right on top of their land because they don't have sewage and septic tanks. And so that affects the health and the well-being of even people just within our own state.
What career opportunities exist for students who want to make an impact with water security?
I think a lot of people, when they first think about water issues, they think civil engineering. I'm going to make a wastewater treatment plant, or I'm going to do environmental studies where I look at pollution. And what I want to come across clearly is that every career field has some kind of impact. And whether it's a direct, like a civil engineer or a communicator or public relations, they all have a role to be able to articulate how humans can live in our society. So just the other day, I was talking to a lady that worked for the Gap out of San Francisco. She's a hydrologist, but she's responsible for learning about how water insecurity affects Gap's ability to bring in cotton or leather to make clothes. And so it had business implications on understanding water security issues in India or Mexico or wherever they source the raw materials to do it. So it's not just limited just to those traditional things. Even here in GWSC, we have a hydrologist on staff, we have an ecologist, we have communications like yourself and public relations, we have journalism, we have one person that had her undergraduate degree in dance, but she is passionate about learning about environmental security issues. We have GIS, I'm a meteorologist. We have computer science, we have MIS, all those career fields. We gather together as a team and we work together as an interdisciplinary team to be able to articulate so that people can understand what it is. So you don't have to be directly involved, but if you have a passion for the environment and other things, then take your major, your passion, and meld them together so that people can be able to advance and benefit society much better than what we do today.
Absolutely. It's so interesting to see that every field overlaps with water security. Again, down to the clothes that we're wearing right now, what we ate for breakfast. And it's really neat to see all different fields of campus cross over with GWSC's mission.
And my hope is that, again, across every major on campus, like, just don't think that, that you're out of the game. You play a role. In fact, when you came aboard, you're like, how do we communicate this stuff? And you didn't know how you fit in. Absolutely. But now you're learning that it's important to communicate science, because we can have the best science in the world, but if we can't communicate it, It's not very good
It
science.
doesn't really work.
Right.
Absolutely. Of careers, what inspired you to pursue a career in the water security industry, and what continues to drive your passion for the field?
So when I was y'all's age, the one thing that I was always taught is leave society a little bit better than what you found it. And so that inspiration of how I was raised and everything drives how I approach the problems and everything. Like, as you know, we can only live without water maybe a day or two. The Maslow's hierarchy needs, water is one of those foundational things. But my frustration in the driving force is that we really don't understand water as sufficiently we have. I mean, we expect that when we turn on the faucet that we have clean water and that it runs. And there are some people that are just not that lucky. And so when I came here, I said that if we get water right and understand it, we kind of by default get climate right, because water is that constituent of which we're going to feel, whether it's agriculture or manufacturing and some of those other issues. It has large influences, even though it's something that we just expect to just be there at all times. And so when I came here, when I was recruited to come to the university, I wanted to do something that I felt that I could make a difference. I was able to innovate and be a change agent and do those kinds of things. And I felt it really important that water was those things. As I said, I'm the meteorologist and it rains, so it's water. But what does that mean of the mud and the flooding or the lack of rain? And so I needed to do a better job of taking what I grew up in as a meteorologist and how do I explain that better from a human impact? Because I think at the end of the day, it's all about humans. And I think a lot of, whether it's water security, environmental security, or climate security, all of those, we kind of sometimes forget that it has a human impact. And so for me, it's really, really important of that inspiration so that, again, I leave the world a little bit better than what I found it.
Speaking of leaving the world a little bit better than you found it, how can students apply that mindset to their time on campus, whether it's specifically with water or in a broader security measure?
I think the students need to be innovative. They need to not be afraid to fail. Because the only way that you are going to make a change is that you have to walk a path. And you have to be innovative. My opinion is that we're getting to a point in society because of population growth, urbanization, and some of these other issues, that we're coming to a crux of that we need to have this revolutionary change on how we approach problems. We saw that coming out of the Little Ice Age when the Industrial Revolution came into existence. We came out of a super cold period and we had the Irish potato famine and some of these other things, and we needed to do something different. And so we had this life event that changed our focus. We invented the cotton gin. We did some of these many other things, steam engines and all that other stuff. I think we're getting close to that tipping point where the younger generation, again, should do a better job and do something and leave it a little bit better. That try to be the innovators, try to be those things, because we're going to need that in the relatively near future. The other thing is that I would advise is like, just be aware of how water is used. Again, it doesn't matter what career field, what degree that you have in, like how's water used? Everybody's using ChatGPT. Well, data centers that create artificial intelligence uses a ton of water. Well, they're putting a lot of these in Arizona. They don't have a lot, or Texas. They don't have a lot of water. Like, what is the cost benefit? Again, not being a business geek necessarily, but we need to understand how water is being used and how agriculture uses water. Where can we what can we do to make a difference? And so as students, as they are trying to look at what you have passion about, the career field that you're choosing, and then just be a lot more aware of where you're going in your career. And again, I would hope to inspire that you just leave it a little bit better than what you found it.
So what can individuals do to maintain and improve water security?
So there's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson that I think each individual, if they take it to heart, can do it. And what he said is, do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Mm-hmm. So if you can go out and leave that trail and do something different and not just do the normal thing, I think, again, society will be much better.